and Second Life as well. I think this is a castle here, a citadel. And throughout the ages, we've sort of gathered to sort of trade at various places and have markets and to share information over a pint and sell things to each other. And also we've gathered in these things to kind of be safe from all the nasty people outside. Now, whether or not we're heading to some kind of Mad Max type vision or not, I'm not sure. But the thing that struck me is eBay continues to sort of grow and grow in the amount of volume and the amount of turnover that it does in terms of people selling stuff. It's a trusted space. It's a kind of like a castle where anybody in it, you sort of trust it-ish. Whereas everything outside is kind of flat and very difficult to work with and not trusted. I see it a lot when we get customers on board. We had a fishing tackle people recently who basically said, we've got this e-commerce site, we never ever sell anything in our e-commerce site. We put the same stuff, damaged for the same money, on eBay, and somehow it sells. People will buy even damaged stuff at kind of decent money on eBay. It's because it's a trusted space. I think this is why Second Life or something like it might be massive. Not only because of the social side of it, but that any sort of trading that goes on within it will be trusted in the same way. There will be these trusted spaces. We will develop these castles, keep the nasty people out, and all those nice people will sit in it. I think there will be loads of castles on Second Life, because I think the metaphor kind of works really well, really. Okay, how are we doing for time? Time check someone.
5 minutes.
Okay, right, we're going to bring Bjorn up now.
5 minutes!
Okay.
Bjorn, before you start, so you don't hear me on it, can you just stand a little bit closer to the screen? Because we got most of Johnny's conversation, that was it.
Closer to the screen.
So a bit further inward, you need to stand a little bit further in.
What, in?
That's it, yeah.
Well, what about the reflection?
No, you've not got any yet.
Not yet.
Just stay on the outside of where the screen is.
Okay.
You'll be fine. The
Yeah.
extremities of the screen.
So I can stay right where I am.
You can, yes, but don't go any further over.
4 minutes. Okay. You've wasted a whole minute. This morning, I started and I had 3 slides. Johnny told me he'd been working 6 hours last night creating a presentation, so I thought, damn.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I've got 5. That's throughout the whole of today. What I really wanted to just give you a top line on was really what has changed in Enterprise Webmaster since 2006, where we are currently in 2008, and what I foresee Enterprise Webmaster being perhaps in 2010. Okay, so it's going to go really quick, going to fly by. It's only, like I say, 4 more slides after this one. Wireless mouse that you actually have to be next to the laptop for. There you go. No, I'd rather just hold it. It's okay. Enterprise Webmaster was a course that we put together in 2006 after I decided that I didn't want to do Microsoft training anymore. I decided I needed to do something to do with the web, and probably the place for me to start is a place where other courses had kind of left off. We had done the Webmaster course in 1997, before I even joined Axis. We'd done an Internet Professional course in 2002, which was kind of building websites for small businesses and giving them some really basic skills on building really quick websites. 2004, they came up with the imaginative name of Internet Professional HLS, Higher Level Skills. In other words,
Shaft's fault.
2. Shaft's fault. I think all of these are Shaft's fault. Aren't they? Enterprise Webmaster. No, maybe not. That's Jonathan's fault.
That's De Montfort's fault.
DMU's fault, okay. They came up with this name, Enterprise Webmaster. Basically, I sat down around about the beginning of 2006, and I said, what can I do for a web course that is going to be higher level, higher than HLS, higher level skills? How do you get higher than HLS? And I thought, well, how about doing things properly? How about a course that actually does things properly? You may laugh. You've been converted now, haven't you? Okay. Basically, back in 2006, I created a course that was pretty innovative at the time. It was a course that you pay a couple of £1,000 to do at a training company. Romany's nodding her head because I remember you saying it, looking for a course kind of similar. And basically, it taught you web standards and a bit of accessibility as well. That started basically in 2006. And what it really meant in 2006 was, for me, web standards was basically a buzzword at the time. There were a lot of design companies who were saying, well, what we'll do is we'll create you a a standards-compliant website, but we're going to charge you another £3,000 on top of the site we're going to build. Everyone was kind of using web standards as a buzzword. A lot of techies and zealots were into it. If you were into web standards around about 2006, you're kind of seen as a geek or a techie. You were a fanatic in some cases about web standards. You're basically being pedantic, okay? If you wanted to create a website, just dump everything onto the page. Don't matter, it doesn't really matter how it looks. Or no, not how it looks, but actually how it presents. And if a website is a website, who cares what it looks like underneath that? Basically, what I wanted to do with this course was really promote standards, teach standards, and the people that came onto the course in 2006, one of them being Phil, they were a little bit skeptical, but at the time they thought, well, we can make a lot of money by actually promoting the fact that we're designing a standards compliance course. Romney was different. Accessibility at the time, okay. I've got both of them. Accessibility at the time, really, when we actually advertised the Enterprise Webmaster course, one of the things that we did play on was the fear of companies not complying with the law. Even though the law had been around since 1999, it became more public in 2006 because the law then applied to small companies as well in 2006. From 1999, basically, the law said that the Disability and Discrimination Act said that all companies need to provide services that are accessible to everyone. Okay, that included your websites. In 2006, they reiterated that for small businesses. And most of you probably remember in 2006, all the shops and that started to put in accessible ramps and things like that. Everyone got a little bit paranoid about it because the law was going to crack down on them. And accessibility, web accessibility, was one of those things that also kind of came to the front again as well. And when we created the course, one of the marketing ploys was, well, we'll say you need it. You have to have it. Which is kind of true. You do have to have it. But which really was the fear that we were playing on a little bit to kind of hopefully bring people in to actually adopt standards. It's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Standards are a good thing, but we're basically bringing in people using accessibility. The technologies at the time, if I looked at what we actually included in the course at the time, we talked about MySpace a little bit, okay? MySpace being the popular social network in 2006. 2005, the year before we started the course, 2005, the web doubled in size. Okay, so the number of pages that we had at the beginning of 2005 actually doubled into the start of 2006. Mostly because of social networks, websites like MySpace. Web 2.0 was also one of those technologies that if I heard said one more time, I would kill the person, namely being Jonathan. Jonathan would go on about Web 2.0. Web 2.0 is the next big thing, and we had a little bit of difference, a couple of differences on what we determined what Web 2.0 was, but basically that was a technology at the time. Google Analytics was also, Gavin, Google Analytics, you can drink, Google Analytics basically also came to the front as well. End of 2005, beginning of 2006, it was a new way of measuring statistics, or a better way of measuring statistics compared to what was already out there. Google basically provided us with this way of looking at our stats on our website and controlling it. What then became interesting to us, after Google Analytics came about, is how we actually went out and made our sites even more popular. And these two things actually helped us do that as well. RSS feeds, news feeds, and that sort of thing, streaming information, podcasts. That was the type of technology that we were looking at back in 2006. 2008, get them all up on screen. 2008, web standards at the moment, to most people that come on the course, the Enterprise Webmaster course, actually doesn't mean geeky or zealots or things like that. It actually means quality control and compatibility nowadays. If you say to somebody, well, we're going to build you a web standard or a standards compliant website, a lot of people will say, yeah, well, that's what I expect. And a lot of designers are building the standards. When I started in 2006 with the course, the first week of the first course, what I'd said was to a whole group of people, give me your website or name a popular website, and we looked at the source code. I know that's a bit geeky. We looked at the source code of the websites, and we looked and we saw that hardly any of the sites that we looked at used web standards. They're all building in very old styles, very old methods, and it was really botched together.